Shalom and welcome to JewishPress.com's Daily Update for February 20th, 2012, the 27th of Shvat, 5772 on the Jewish calendar. Amateur videos coming out of Damascus are showing Syria's capital residents taking to the streets in demanding the end of the Bashar al-Assad regime. Meanwhile, police and militia patrols fanned out in Damascus's Meza district on Sunday to prevent more protests. Young Samer el-Khatib was killed when security forces fired on Saturday's rally. He was buried in the Meza region on Sunday amid heavy security presence to prevent the funeral from turning into an anti-Assad demonstration. The Damascus Protests shows that the movement against Assad is gaining steam. He has ruled for 11 years after his father Hafez left the scene, dying, and now it is spreading to larger segments of the Syrian society. The Egyptian daily Asharq al-Awsat is reporting that Egypt too is withdrawing its envoy from Syria. Egypt's decision follows moves by Tunisia, Libya, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and other Arab nations to reduce ties with Damascus. Rabbi Elyashiv's condition is improving, say staff members of the Shaarei Tzedek hospital in Jerusalem. Rabbi Elyashiv is the leader of the Lithuanian Haredi religious community. He is one of Israel's greatest Torah scholars. He actually started feeling better. According to the report, the rabbi, who was hospitalized 2 weeks ago in critical condition, awoke from a coma, reacted to his surroundings, and even sat on a chair. However, although the rabbi is awake, he's not out of the woods yet, and his life may still be in danger. His family has asked the public to continue to pray for his recovery. In good news coming out of Israel, Bloomberg financial news service is saying that Israel is the safest country for investing. While in 2011, the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange yielded lower returns than Wall Street and European markets, a look at the last decade in toto shows a very different picture. In fact, it shows that the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange has produced the highest risk-adjusted return in the last 10 years. According to Bloomberg riskless return ranking, the Tel Aviv TA25 returned 7.6% in the last 10 years, ending yesterday after adjusting for volatility. That is the highest among 24 developed nation states benchmarked in the index. According to Michael Steinhardt, the famous former hedge fund manager, he said, Israel is an exciting place to invest. The country is surrounded by enemies. It's always on the edge of extinction, but it expands and prospers. Thanks a lot, Michael. Now, Governor Mike Huckabee was in town. Governor Huckabee is a TV and radio show host and also, of course, the 2008 presidential hopeful. He leads a yearly tour to Israel of his congregation and flock. He's a preacher as well. And he was in Jerusalem at a press conference talking about Israel, talking about the prospects for a two-state solution, dealings with Iran, and, of course, the American presidential race. Here's Mike Huckabee. First thing, Governor, you look great. Good to see you.
Thank you. Great to be back.
You know, a lot of people here in Israel and here in America also talk about policies about Israel vis-a-vis certain candidates. They say, we got to get Obama out because his policies are bad. But in my mind, it's really about the policies themselves that don't seem to change from Republican to Democrat. And I want to ask about two policies.
Okay.
One is about moving the embassy to Jerusalem. So Gingrich made a statement that he would do it, that he would move it, he would fulfill the law. When I speak to groups in America, oftentimes they say to me, you know, our government is not fulfilling the law that we've already passed. So when is that really going to happen? And does that matter if it's Republican or Democrat? And the second is the Jonathan Pollard issue, which the top brass in America has already stated that they think that he should be let go. From the State Department people to CIA people, they've all said it's time for justice to be administered and for this man to be let go. So those are two policies that keep being bandied around. I want to see, you know, is there any change in the future for those two things?
I don't know that anyone has any, big policy changes in mind. I think of all the Republican candidates, at least the top three, all of them are very strong in their support of Israel. I know they've all expressed at one point or another, in some degree or another, their openness to moving the embassy to Jerusalem, which should have already happened years and years ago, and hasn't. And I certainly support that, and would hope that the next president would do it, and would do it quickly and without hesitation. I agree also that it's long overdue for the Jonathan Pollard issue to be resolved and put behind us, and I think a pardon on that part and a release is absolutely appropriate. Now, having said that, and hoping that whoever the Republican nominee is will become president and would take action on those policy issues, to be very candid with you, neither of those issues are very high on the minds or thoughts of Americans right now. So it's probably not an issue that any presidential candidate is going to inject into the process of the election, because most people don't think about it. It's the economy. If there is a second issue, it is the tension in the Middle East and what may happen with Iran. But those other issues I have not heard mentioned in months.
All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the daily update from JewishPress.com. I'm Yishai Fleischer. See you tomorrow. Shalom.